ain't feeling lonely, and I wanna admit it's time to end the ride. Fading it too slowly, were those gonna lift me up this time? You were the only one who got me tripping up inside. All the words you told me, am I reading something different from your eyes?
From the beautiful design that stands out, which would never have stood out in the past, to the very fun 960 frames shooting. The Sony Xperia XZ Premium is a very solid device, but it's not perfect, this in the camera and design. Sony is sticking to its guns when it comes to the design of the Sony Xperia XZ Premium. It really hasn't changed much since their first Sony Xperia set. They adjusted it, and if you like to call it, perfected the design, for instance having a curved frame that really improves the feel of the hand. But all in all, if you place it next to the set, the XZ Premium will still have a clear resemblance of that one. Now, in the day and age of having bigger and bigger displays, this 5.5 inch display doesn't feel that big. It feels actually kinda small. This is because the bezels are quite big. It creates the illusion that it's smaller than it truly is. And when we talk about the display, this is the first 4K HDR display on a smartphone. And it's beautiful. It has beautiful colors and is very nice and vibrant. And if you wish, you can easily change the display in the display settings to either make it more realistic or more vibrant, but you can also set the colors up manually. Where it isn't the greatest is in direct sunlight. The max brightness of the display just isn't enough to have a clear view on your display. But apart from that, you honestly can't go wrong with this display. And watching videos on it is enhanced even more because it has two front-facing stereo speakers that directly shoot at you instead of down. This does help a lot with the sound coming out of these speakers. It's very good, albeit that sometimes the volume is a bit soft, for instance when you have a recording message on WhatsApp. Where there is definitely no problem is in its power. The Sony Xperia XZ Premium packs quite a wallet, with having a Snapdragon 835 that is built on a 10nm chip. That is much more power efficient and really fast. This combined with the 4GB allows you to run smoothly through every task you ask of it. And its RAM management is great as well, because things that are running on the background are staying on where you left them off. Of course there will be a limit with that 4GB, but I haven't reached it yet in everyday use. But while the Snapdragon 835 might be a more power efficient chip than the other ones, it doesn't really help the battery. Battery life is just average. With its 3230 mAh battery, it sometimes just manages to give me a bit over 5 hours on screen on time. But more often than not, I am below the 5 hours. And of course we have to talk about the design itself. I myself find it a beautiful phone that, even though it looks similar to the first Sony Xperia set, stands out more. The sharp edges on the corners look very clean and the design is very symmetrical, with the back and front having the same style of glass fusing with the metal frame. And I love symmetry. But because of the sharp corners, it isn't really the nicest phone to hold in landscape. The corners are very unpleasant and you feel this hard edge very well in your fingers when you're desperately trying to get a better grip on it. Now in design as well, I like the little details, like having a camera button and a power button that is very nicely shaped. And the plus is that it has the fingerprint scanner in there. For me, this is the best fingerprint scanner I ever used, not because of how fast it is or always recognizing my fingerprint, but more because of the placement itself. It feels natural to have it there. Now of course it's not shocking news that the Sony Xperia XZ Premium still has the IP rating. It's something they have done for a very long time. Sony basically started the hype about having this water resistant body and others are following now. Oh, and let's not forget that they at least still have a headphone jack, which should stay unless they can find a separate connection that works just as well and easy as a 3.5mm jack. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I bought this phone is because of its camera. And of course I'm talking about the super slow motion feature that allows you to record up to 960 frames per second. That is really impressive. This is cleverly done by using a memory stacked image sensor that allows these super slow motion shots. But it has its limit, and the limit feels too short for me. It only allows you to capture about 1.6 seconds in real life, and that is then slowed down. It makes it hard to sometimes capture those beautiful slow motion shots. It now becomes more a hit or miss. If it was about 3 seconds, I wouldn't have mind. Now timing is everything. But even though you have a little bit of time to capture something in 960 frames per second, it is really cool when you do. And at the end you can't find it on any other phone. But at some point the slow motion is not enough to give the camera a pass. At some point you will only use it for pictures and videos. And then we have the question: does the Sony Xperia XZ Premium have enough to compete with others on that alone? While having a 90 megapixel camera is nice when you want to crop in, it isn't always great to have it, because the higher megapixel count you have, the bigger sensor that you need. And the Sony Xperia XZ Premium has a smaller sensor at 1.22 whereas Samsung has a 1.4 and the Google Pixel 1.55 But we'll get back to that later on why this matters. Because in normal lighting situations, the Sony Xperia XZ Premium can capture amazing pictures with a good dynamic range and good saturation. The automatic mode knows what it needs, but it also creates a problem for me. Because in Superior Auto you don't have a button to simply activate or deactivate HDR, which is a must for me, because in some shots you either want it off or on, but you can only activate HDR in the limited manual mode. And the Sony Xperia XZ Premium camera UI is full of these weird steps that you have to take to get somewhere. For instance, why not simply add a video record button below the camera button, like so many other companies do? And why do I have to go to a separate mode for 4K shots? All these little things makes the camera UI fall far behind the competitors, which I don't understand, because they deliver great hardware for others and they know about cameras. But they can't make a proper camera UI? Now, where the hardware does let it down is in low light situations, and when we go back to those specs of the Sony Xperia XZ Premium, we can see why. Like I said, it has a 1.22 pixel size and only an f2.0 aperture. This means that you will not get as much light in the sensor and therefore more grainy shots. And this you can see. While it can create some decent shots, grain is simply always there. And the manual mode won't help either, because you can't even change the ISO. Yes, you can change the shutter speed, but still. And the lack of optical image stabilization is not really helping either. What optical image stabilization basically does is move the camera to keep a steady shot when your hands are moving. And in night this helps a lot, because the shutter speed slows down a bit. This means more movement during the time that you are taking the picture. And also the Superior Auto again sometimes chooses its own settings and sometimes results in pictures you didn't even see on the phone itself. But you do see little signs of Sony actually having a clever idea. For one, if you hold the camera button, it can either take a picture straight away or start a video, and it's properly fast. Now, where it does take a lot of points is in video mode. The videos are very stable, even though you are lacking optical image stabilization. They basically use electric image stabilization, and that helps a lot. And this is done by zooming in a bit. And in that way they create a little space where the footage can move in, making the shot more stable. So at the end, how do I feel about the Sony Xperia XZ Premium? Well, I actually got mixed feelings. I love the camera when it captures the great beautiful pictures. In low light it's average, but overall it's a very fast device. The dual front facing speakers are very nice, the display is beautiful, and apart from the camera UI I don't really have problems with it. It is a fast device, it's a reliable device, battery life is okay I guess, but all in all it's a solid device. However, the camera UI is bugging me, and I like taking pictures, but it's not consistent enough. You of course have to judge for yourself how you feel about it after this review and what you think of it. Either way, let me know in the comments below, and of course don't forget to subscribe and like. And of course, have a nice day.